Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit of a story time. I'm very, very methodical, and I try to be very diplomatic when I share stories of my past when it comes to friends, my previous ex, my marriage, things like that. Because I'm just not here to call people out. I don't want to do that. That's not my venture of things. And they know. But that said, so when it comes to a lie or recognizing a pattern, then understanding the lie, it lands you on the truth. Okay? Let's table that for a minute. All right? So my ex and I have been in each other's lives since I was 17 years old, on and off. All right? We went through the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. On and off since I was 17. We've been through many, many different seasons. And we've been through a lot. Okay. But I've always carried a very strong love, because a lot of various different reasons. But this isn't just for him. This is for anybody. Because when I come into contact with people, I see them. Okay? I hear them. I listen to them. I love them. I move into their reality that they welcome me into, being true and being authentic and being genuine. Not saying I'm perfect, but I'm not coming at them maliciously. I'm not coming at them to gain something from the friendship or the relationship. I'm not trying to one-up them. I'm not in competition with them. I just am being me. All right. And so there's just a lot there that I know in regards to him and how he operates and how he thinks, his upbringing, childhood traumas, things like that. And again, I'm not just talking about him though. I'm talking about everybody in my past. Everybody. I could say this same background to all of them, because I not only give people space to talk to me, a lot of people did talk to me about a lot of different things in reference to their past, their childhood, all kinds of stuff, and my friends, my marriage, and my previous ex. So you take all that into consideration, right? Then you start recognizing when you wake up and you resign from a company because of everything within that company was not making sense, and how they were conducting, how they were treating you, how they were talking to you, how they were talking to your kid, nothing, right? And then you resign. Well, you then try to ask for the FMLA Act. Nobody could answer that. It was a hard ask, right? So then you do that, and then after, everything in your life gets even more weirder. It was already weirder before that transitioning of events, and then it got really weird. And so you take into account all of these things with all these people in my life, right, that are moving. And I know all of these things about them. But then you start picking up on the weirdness and the synchronicities and the patterns and the facial expressions and the conversations and the words that are coming out of their mouth. And so my ex, I work at a department store. In the last 8 months, he had just so happened to blow through twice now, with both of his girlfriends. Okay. Now, it could just be a coincidence. Okay. We'll land on that. Let me just say this in reference to that. When it comes to coincidences, when you know someone and you've known them for years, right? You take in consideration those said coincidences. And like, for example, the time we spent together, okay? We didn't go window shopping on a Friday night. That wasn't in our menu of items. Okay? Hey, now things change, and maybe that's the case. All right? But I can tell you this. In reference to the last 3 years and everything intertwined with my ex that I do know, in reference to conversations, in reference to patterns, in reference to the lie, I know the truth. I know the truth. Okay. Now, that said, doesn't change the fact that I still love unconditionally. I want everybody in my past, somehow entangled in this, to find their way to happiness. I truly do. Because at the end of the day, neither of us win in this whole debacle, this whole simulation. Nobody wins in a simulation. No one. And so I've chosen for my world not to live in a simulation. Although a simulation lives around me, I do not partake in it by any means. Now, if people want to continue living in a simulation, that is their free will. They have that option, just like I had that option. And I decided, no, this isn't working out for me. I don't like how this makes me feel. And the thing is when I talk about certain things in my past, it's not that I want to throw shade on anybody, because I by all means do not want to throw shade on anyone. But I've lived in a world where people have so graciously enough taken a magnifying glass to my life and to my heart and done egregious things to tear my heart apart. And they know they have. They know they have. Now, whether that be for money, whether that be for compelling stories that were sold to them, whether that be for signing the dotted line, whether that be blackmail, whether that be coercion, whether that be, if you don't do this, we're going to do this to your businesses, to your life, that might be the case. I would venture to say probably yes. I know how these people operate, so I could definitely see them doing that. I could without a doubt see them doing that. This is, they're deep in no holds bar on carrying a conscience on what they will do to continue their power and acquire wealth. And if they're put in a pickle where they created such a intricate woven narration of events to hide their hands and their involvement in it, they're going to double down on anything to keep it covered. And so if that means pulling people, pulling loved ones, pulling their family, pulling all these different factors in to continue creating agony and psychological and spiritual and mental warfare in my life, to where I act out of character the way that they created this entire story off of, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And I'm well aware of that. That's that patterns and synchronicities. Again, I speak on behalf of my ex, but I picked up all of this with the company I worked for, with the people that I worked along with his wife. I picked up on all this stuff with all of them in reference to seeing them, listening to them, hearing them, and understanding how they operate, and not so much putting it all out there, because a lot of the times, 99% of the time, these people like the sound of their own voice. They didn't even want to hear me. I got shussed all along the way. I was just there to play a part so they can siphon from me, so I could be their little lapdog, their little doormat, where they could get all of this from me. This has been the story of my life. And I don't fault them for that. Why? Because I was broken. And I allowed it. I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't advocate for myself. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know my value. I didn't even know my own thoughts. And so I take ownership in that part of it, in that venture. That's why I don't carry any ill will, because I thank them for how much I've grown throughout this entire thing. And I recognize that God has used all of this in my favor for me to become the person that He always designed and knew that I would become. Period. And it's been a hard road. Let's see here. Listen. Oh, okay. Another thing. We're going to end on this. Through the grapevine, my ex-brother-in-law and sister-in-law look like they might be relocating outside the state to Tennessee. And here's what I have to say about this. You can't run from your sins. You can't run from your dirty decisions. They're going to follow you until you look them in the eye. That's what I have to say about that. I had to do it, and you're going to have to do it too. Period. For your kids.